It's probably a good job that we've just had a drought, the first drought in the UK since 1976, which, yes, I can remember. Those of you with the more acute eyesight will realise that I'm old enough to remember 1976. If we hadn't have had the drought in 2022, I'd be up to my waist in water if I was sat here, because this is a small flood pool on Penny Pasture Common, which is part of the Eakring Meadows complex, situated between villages of Eakring and Kersal. One time a day for 17 years, this was very much part of my local patch. Today, I've come here to look for a species that I've been after for nigh on 10 years now, and certainly mentioned in the last few videos, depending on what order I release said videos in. I'm on the lookout for short-winged conehead, which is a species that seems to have arrived in Nottinghamshire and then promptly done a disappearing act, although there are some more recent records that have just been made aware of. However, there's now another record. Because yes, I'm just looking for somewhere to pop out to for an hour, somewhere to look for long and short-winged conehead. Now, long-winged conehead is very common in Nottinghamshire, in fact it's widespread, but for some reason short-winged conehead is distinctly scarcer. Or should that be more scarce? One of the places that I hadn't yet tried was this Juncus-filled patch of formerly water at Penny Pasture Common. I did come to try here about a week ago, but it was still full of cattle. Best not to go looking for things and upsetting the local cattle. So I tried again today. Luckily no cattle. Eakring Meadows has been cut, but this area is never cut, and so within minutes of starting to walk in amongst the Juncus and sedges that's growing all around here, my first conehead that I set eyes on and flushed was indeed short-winged conehead. It's surprising how when you keep trying to find species, you search different sites, and Nick and Samantha Brownlee also tried a number of sites as well for short-winged conehead. It's surprising that you can just suddenly drop in on them quite easily, and there's good numbers here. There's probably as many short-winged coneheads on this site as there are long-winged coneheads from the short bit of sampling that I've done. I've got the rest to walk around because I want some photos of this almost fabled Nottinghamshire beast. And in addition to this one, I have another one potted up. I'm not that daft, you know. I might look it, but it's nice to finally set eyes on a species that's eluded me ever since it's arrived in Nottinghamshire. But it's certainly a species that Dillis and I looked for many, many years. All I need to do now is film one in here somewhere. And there, centre of screen, is short-winged conehead. Boy, has this took some finding. Well, it's took some finding at a site, but there are as many short-winged coneheads here at Penny Pasture Common as there are long-winged coneheads. And you can see this is a mature female, by the way, how short the wings are. I'll probably see if I can catch a long-winged conehead and then you can compare the two. The ovipositor on these is sword-like and long and curved. It curves upwards as well. But they're difficult, very, very difficult, as are most Orthoptera, to photograph and certainly to video. So while this one's sat here still for the best part of a minute now, I need to make the most of this opportunity. It's been known in Nottinghamshire since 2011, when it was found at 2 sites, and they included Attenborough Nature Reserve and on the side of the River Trent at Gunthorpe. There are recent records. It's face down in the grass now, but yeah, known that Bevercoats picked wood in 2014 and not since, but there are recent records from Coates Marsh, which is against the Cotton Power Station, right on the border with Nottinghamshire and Lincolnshire, but just the right side of the River Trent. Now, on the dead grass stem that runs sort of 4 o'clock to 10 o'clock angle through the centre of the screen is clinging this short-winged conehead. This is not the typical kind of habitat or situation that you would find one in. I've had to sort of take it out of the yuncas, so that I can get some photographs of it in the open, and more importantly some video footage so that you can look at. If I move this, you'll see it appear. Look, there we go. Short-winged conehead. This is a new site, of course, for this species in Nottinghamshire. It must be at many sites in the Trent Valley around any sort of yuncas areas that are fringing ponds, or even the river itself, which is unlikely, but any riverside meadows that do have areas of yuncas are worth checking for this species. The trouble is, no one's doing grasshoppers and other Orthoptera in Nottinghamshire. Just the county recorder and myself, as far as I'm aware, over the years, and now Nick and Samantha Brownlee. No one does any regular recording. I must admit that most of my records occur during the late summer period, when some of the other orders are starting to sort of fade away now, and this is peak time once you get into August for Orthoptera, and it continues right on until the first frosts. I'm just pleased that the search for these, my sort of 10-year plus search for these, if I can encourage it round, there we are, look, you can see the short wing cases, that my 10 years search for this species is now at an end. This has been one of them bogey species that you often get when you're recording invertebrates. There's always one or two that you can never get for some reason. And then usually you get 2 or 3 records from within a short period of time. 2 or 3 records of short-winged conehead I would very much welcome. I'm just pleased to have finally found one. Well, several. As I say, there's good numbers here. So the plan to come out here for an hour to pass a bit of time on is rewarded. This chap's going to jump in a minute by the looks of it. The legs are ready. So I'm going to see if I can get a few more photos. So that's short-winged conehead at Eakring Meadows. After all these years, there he goes. Well, there we are. That's another species ticked off the most wanted list. It's always nice when you finally add a species to your Nottinghamshire list, or whatever list you have. For me, it's not about lists, it's just one of those species in Nottinghamshire that I hadn't seen. I think I've cleared up now for all Nottinghamshire Orthoptera, until the next big thing comes along. We're due a real sort of UK mover now in Orthoptera. Maybe something coming in from the continent, something to get us all excited about. Cameras at the ready. The beauty of recorded invertebrates full stop. Pretty much the world's your oyster, and in these days of warming temperatures and climate change and the like, you never know what's coming. You never know what species is just the other side of the channel waiting to make that hop over the channel to the UK. So many invertebrates have done it in the past 30 years. It's an unbelievable figure. But anyway, this is Penny Pasture Common. Nice that coming here again, returning to my old stomping ground, has provided me with another species, a long sought after species. Often pays to return to the sites that you know best. And it certainly has in this case.